Thank you very much again, CEO Roger Baxter, for your kind words and also for always making it easy for us to transition as an organization. Honorable Minister Gwede Mantashe, in absentia, we know you will be joining us soon. The Minerals Council CEO, Roger Baxter, the office bearers, my colleagues, Mr. Steenkamp, Mr. Dan, and Mr. Mkwanazi, board members present here with us this afternoon, fellow CEOs and Mineral Council colleagues and executives, members of the media and other stakeholders with us this afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to our 132nd AGM. Being part of an organization like the Minerals Council of South Africa is a very, very humbling experience, as well as a very inspiring experience, because you are leading amongst peers. And it is not lost in me always, every day, that just having a title within this organization means that you are first amongst equals. So I address you in this particular AGM as the first amongst equals, because I consider you, not only most of you to be equals, but also to be my mentors and my seniors, as well as my champions. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 virus has once again disrupted our plans to meet in person for our annual general meeting, and which is very sad, because I would have really loved to deliver this address having looked you straight in the eye. When we last met in 2021, we were well within the pandemic on various lockdown levels. As an industry, we had embarked on what would turn out to be a remarkably successful vaccination program for our employees, their dependents, and people in neighboring communities. We should be justifiably proud of our achievements, with more than 3/4 of the industry's nearly 460,000 strong workforce vaccinated and 2/3 of our employees double vaccinated. The mining industry in South Africa is the leading economic sector in vaccinations, thanks to our partners in labor, DMRE, and various local governments. We are well ahead of the national average. Despite our best efforts since March 2020, we, however, lost 749 of our colleagues to COVID-related complications. The deaths of our colleagues from COVID-19 represents less than 1% of the national COVID-related deaths, and 0.16% of our entire workforce. And that is a small consolation, because we do know how much COVID-19 has affected each and every one of us at a personal level, whether it's through family, friends, relatives, associates, and colleagues. However, of a much greater concern and most troubling is that we had an unacceptable second year of reversal in our safety performance. We lost 74 of our colleagues in 2021, a worrying increase from 60 in 2020, and the all-time low of 51 fatalities suffered in 2019. This is a devastating downward trend. We must honor those who died at work by recommitting ourselves to safety every day. That is the least we can do for their families, friends, and colleagues. And at this moment, I would request that those of us who are able to put on their cameras so that we can be able to take a moment of reflection and in memory of the lives that have been lost in the past year, both due to COVID, but as well due to workplace safety, as we remember them and their families. Thank you very much, colleagues. May their souls rest in peace. In December last year, we called a special board meeting to agree on urgent safety interventions to immediately stop the regression in the short term and reverse the trend in the medium term. 8 focus areas were identified by the CEOs. However, looking at the current situation in 2022, we are not yet out of the woods. Unfortunately, the number of deaths so far this year is 19 colleagues compared to 18 in the same period a year earlier. We remain steadfast in our commitment to zero harm. We know that it is possible. We have managed to reach best safety performance in 2019, and we know we can do it again. We will do it again. For example, if we consider falls of ground, one of the most dangerous aspects of underground mining, we have made heartening headway. For the first time ever, the gold and platinum mines had no fall of ground related fatalities in the first 4 months of this year. There was one such fatality, however, in the coal sector, which is highly unusual. And we will and must make mining safer. However, all CEOs must put this as top of their agenda every day. I note that the minister's camera is on and that he has joined us. Thank you, Minister, for joining us, and I will continue and hand over to you once I complete my address. Zero harm goes beyond mining safely without injuries and fatalities. It is a culture that includes having safe mining working environments for women. The sobering release of Rio Tinto's external report in February 2022 on workplace culture at its global operations, highlighting bullying, sexual harassment, racism, and discrimination throughout the company, was the right thing to do and should be commended. It made us all look at our own operations where we have the same problems that need urgent attention and action. Gender-based violence and femicide is another pandemic that is eating out at the fiber of our society. And as employers, we must play our part too. Since 1996, when women were first legally allowed to work underground in mining operations, the industry now employs 64,500 women out of a total workforce of nearly 460,000, which translates to just 14%. Gender-based violence and femicide, sexism and discrimination are a lived reality for so many of our women colleagues, unfortunately extending beyond the mining gates. While we can implement programs and interventions at our mines, the problems extend beyond into the communities. It needs concerted, focused interventions by all stakeholders and communities to address this scourge. The Minerals Council Board had identified 6 priority areas to be incorporated into the Women in Mining Strategic Plan in the White Paper on Women in Mining, which was published in March 2020. One of the key priority areas in this review was that of physical safety requirements to be in line with the Mine Health and Safety Council's requirements for PPE, change rooms and ablution facilities, among others. The Minerals Council and its members have set targets to at least double the percentage of women in mining by 2025 and work towards 30% to 40% women representation across the industry and 50% in management over the next decade. For these targets to be met, we must make the industry attractive for women to build thriving careers. Early this year, the Minerals Council Women in Mining Leadership Forum sought to acknowledge the crucial role modernization plays in making mining attractive to women while accelerating transformation and growth within the industry. Can someone please help the minister, because I can see minister in the camera that they are not assisting you. Thank you. Through the Women in Mining Modernization Heroes campaign, we honored and celebrated these unsung heroes in the industry who work tirelessly to create an environment in which more women can participate and realize their potential through innovation and technology. And to mark International Women's Day 2022, in partnership with the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, Organized Labor, the South African Institute of Mining and Metallurgical, and the Mining Education Trust Fund, we celebrated 10 women in mining modernization heroes, women who were selected out of more than 180 other women nominated by the Mineral Council 78 member companies and associations. Our next campaign will focus on women in mining as community development heroes. Looking at this year, 2022, we mark a decade since the Marikana tragedy, when 44 people lost their lives under tragic circumstances. Their memory lives on. We must use this anniversary of those dark days to reflect on the role mining is playing within its communities and with its employees. Are we making a positive, constructive contribution to our most important stakeholders? Are our social and labor plans achieving the intentions behind them to uplift communities out of poverty and giving them opportunities for improved livelihoods? These are some of the questions that we need to reflect on honestly if we are to honor the memory of those who died in this tragedy. It would be disrespectful to them if we take no lessons from those events and make mining matter and be a force for good. Since 2020, our colleagues at Sibanye Stillwater have conducted annual commemoration of the events at the assets they bought from Lonmin, marking the day as one to pause, reflect, and never forget the events that shocked us all so deeply. Sibanye developed and in 2020 launched the Marikana Renewal program, a three-pronged strategy of renewal, honoring and restitution to shape a legacy for Marikana. It is working with the widows of all those who died a decade ago to ensure they received the houses they were promised, funding the education of 139 beneficiaries, and so far, the 16/8 Memorial Trust has spent more than 48 million rands on education up to and beyond university level for qualifying candidates. They have revitalized the social and labor plans they inherited to create social and economic opportunities in that community. For the industry, one of the positive outcomes of the Marikana tragedy, if anything, was that the introspection of employers on employee indebtedness, which fed into the events around Marikana, was something that we were seized with. Many companies developed indebtedness programs and interventions to ensure the financial well-being of their employees to prevent a recurrence of the events a decade ago. However, we must acknowledge much more can still be done for most mining communities to ensure future sustainability and well-being, especially in the context of just energy transition. Coming to business performance. For our members, 2021 was a good year, with demand for the minerals we produce in an uncertain socio-political global environment pushing prices higher across the board. A major area of concern, particularly for our bulk mineral members, was the inability of Transnet to rail contracted volumes of iron ore, coal, chrome, and manganese. If we consider the opportunity cost of what the installed capacity is on the rail network compared to what was actually railed, the industry forfeited about 50 billion rands of sales. We are in close talks with the Minister of Public Enterprises and senior management within Transnet to address the constraints which appear to be worsening this year and which are the cause for deep concern and alarm. The industry cannot afford a repeat of 2021, and nor can the country. There is no doubt Transnet is facing serious headwinds, and in terms of actual performance versus target, we lost 35 billion in export earnings in 2021, of which a third would have gone to Treasury in extra taxes. The Minerals Council is playing a leadership role working with Transnet and government to resolve the challenges and get rail capacity back to target. We have taken a proactive approach to managing the rail challenges, and our members are standing up and being counted. As an example, on security alone, the coal mining companies contributed an extra 100 million to managing the security issues on the coal link line in partnership with Transnet. Looking at the future, many of the minerals produced by mining are essential building blocks towards a low carbon future and net zero target emission. By applying technologies, building infrastructure, generating energy, and supporting agriculture, amongst others, mining plays a crucial role in life in general, reminiscent of the adage that if it is not grown, it is mined. And mining has done a great job over the years to do this. However, all this has to be done with huge consideration for the benefit of all stakeholders. With competing priorities, the United Nations SDGs are a great framework to help guide us in our prioritization. Some crucial SDG goals for us are the achievement of good health and well-being of our employees and positive socio-economic impact for the mining communities. Together with the steps being taken to modernize our industry, we expect to see significant improvements in safety performance, productivity, and making room for more women in mining. The work being done and undertaken at the Mandela Mining Precinct is an example of public-private partnerships that work. Our mining industry is a long way from reaching its potential, in part due to shortcomings and constraints I have already outlined, both internally as well as external. Minister, you know, I am by nature both a pragmatist and an optimist, and my optimism is firmly rooted in reality. I have no doubt that we as an industry and a nation can work together to build and unleash the potential of the minerals sector for a brighter future for South Africa. It will take hard work, the courage of our convictions, innovation, and leaders who see far beyond just a 2 to 3 year cycle, whether it's a political cycle or economical cycle. Ours is an industry that cities and countries have been built on. We have to, therefore, move away from short-term thinking. The Minerals Council has continued to engage the DMRE on various issues and especially on the Exploration Implementation Plan agreed in January 2020 and gazetted in April 2022. Recognizing the urgent need for exploration to attract growth and investment within the industry. We are encouraged by the progress we have seen in the development of recently published exploration plan. However, we cannot associate ourselves with the exploration strategy as we were not consulted with the development of its contents, and we hope that this minister will be rectified in due course. In 2022, ensuring the inclusive growth of the mining sector will require ongoing constructive and honest discussions with government, labor, communities, and other stakeholders around the inhibitors to growth, including challenges around the country's energy generation capacity and the ailing rail infrastructure. Addressing growing community discontent around mining operations, which stem, at least in part, from municipal capacity challenges and rising unemployment, will also require greater stakeholder engagement to co-create workable solutions that are supportive of a progressive and economically viable society in the long run. The importance of community engagement cannot be underemphasized. In many instances, it is at the heart of our license to operate, and we know we have a long way to go in this regard. It cannot be business as usual. In this new normal, the mining industry, with its wealth of engineering capacity and strong financial and project management skills, can play a key role in ensuring better lives for our neighboring and labor-sending communities. We are in this together. Achieving this will take transparency, collaboration, and accountability as we work closely with government, communities, and other key stakeholders. With climate change issues and the just energy transition debates taking place throughout the world, the South African mining industry has to be front and center in these discussions so as to ensure that for our host communities, the transition is indeed just and fair. The inclusion of women and youth in all of our engagements should be deliberate and sustained. As partners, we must ensure that they are included in all opportunities and discussions in order for them to contribute in shaping and co-create their future destinies. With promising structural reforms coming from government, together we know we can shape our destiny. We must be active, engaged, and caring citizens on this journey to reset the economy and to strive for higher investment and improved inclusive growth and socio-economic impact. Minister Mantashe, we believe that the time has come to talk for that talk that you also mentioned to us as office bearers last year. We need now to collaborate in developing a socio-economic framework capable of carrying forward the work of Mining Charter, moving beyond mere compliance and also demonstrating a new benchmark of transformation and socio-economic empowerment to the world. Together, we will make mining matter. I want to thank you, Minister, for always being available to engage and support us. I want to thank the office bearers who have been re-elected, Mr. Dan, Mr. Mkwanazi, and Mr. Steenkamp, for their unstinting support over the past year. I also want to particularly, on behalf of all of us, thank Mr. Roger Baxter, our CEO, who continues not only to work hard for the industry, but has been quite integral in supporting Business Unity South Africa and other structures. I want to thank the Minerals Council staff and executive for always being there and supporting all of us. This board, Mr. Minister, is made out of committed and also constructive patriots who want to engage for the betterment of our country. They continue to rise above every challenge and choose to be part of South Africa's solutions rather than be part of the problem, living the truism that, I quote, "Be the change that you seek to see in the world." I'm honored and grateful to be part of this industry's journey. Thank you very much, and I thank you all for listening to this presentation. Keep strong and keep safe. Thank you.